for the next episode. I can't wait to get home and turn my TV on. I'm ready for the next episode. Got my snatch shoes off, my remote control. I'm ready for the next episode.
Hi guys, welcome back. On today's episode, we're going to be discussing How to Die Alone. I'm your host, Nick.
And I'm Jess.
I'm really excited about today's episode because we're going to be talking about relationships. And I don't know if I've had so many toxic relationships.
Like, I'm gonna say it again. You don't know if you've had so many toxic relationships?
I've never seen a show that has had so many toxic relationships like crammed in.
Mm-hmm.
It's mind blowing.
Yeah.
So in the first episode, we kind of talked about Melissa's self-esteem problems, how she doesn't feel like she's worthy of love. And so my first question would be, how does somebody get that way? And then my answer would be her mother.
Yeah, her mama.
Her mother also, but I feel like he learned that from the mom.
Oh, absolutely. So yeah, definitely her family of origin. Her mom, who seems like she has spent her entire life, Melissa's entire life, breaking her self-esteem down for it to be as low as it is. Because like if she has always talked to her like she talks to her as an adult, like I'm sure hearing those kind of things as a child was probably really hard. And then she set up this dynamic because I really think the brother in her relationship and why the mom is the reason why it's so toxic. Mm-hmm. And she really kind of plays a big role in that dysfunction. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, there's something going on with the father that they're not clear about. So we know the father is dead. The brother has a different opinion of the father, but Melissa also says at some point, like, you got his good years.
Right.
So making it seem like there was some kind of change, by the time she came along to where he was not as good or present as father. But it's not clear that, like, was he there and just a bad person? Did he leave before, We just know he died when I think Alex was about 14. The brother was about 14. Not Alex. I'm sorry. Alex is the boyfriend. What's the brother's
name? Brian?
Brian. When Brian was about 14.
Is that right, though? Is his name Brian?
That feels right.
It does feel right.
Mm-hmm. But
I've been wrong before.
Names is not your strong point.
It's not. And I lean into it. So what she said about the father when she said, "Oh, you got his good years." For me, he was just like the first man who, did she say left her? Didn't want me. And I'm like, yikes. Mm-hmm. And I have a ton of questions.
Okay.
A ton of threads, I guess, to pull. So the mom made a comment to her brother about how the father was not a good man. Mm-hmm. Did she explain exactly in what way she felt like he wasn't a good man?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like everybody kind of alludes to the fact that there was something wrong, something going on with the father, but they never said specifically what it was.
Right. I mean, definitely, I think there's alcoholism because she was saying that he was drunk. He was a drunk.
I missed that.
I thought she said you got the best of him. By the time I came along, he was drunk, and then she made the comment about he was the first man. Maybe I made that up.
I missed that part completely. I don't remember that.
I don't know. Maybe I just was taking that he was an alcoholic. I don't know where I got that from now. I'll be honest to say sometimes I get feelings from things and they're not true. But now I have to go back and watch the scene again because I thought she made reference to him being like drunk. But
I think so.
So the mom
is Brian though. Brother's name is Brian.
Okay. So I was right. So I wonder if part of the mom treating the daughter badly has to do with the dad. And I say that is because if, according to what Melissa said, the father was better before she came along. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like sometimes like you have another child and then things go south and
Mm-hmm.
the parent will take it out on that child as if it was the child's fault.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if there was some of that, like their marriage got worse after she was born, not necessarily because of her, but just because that's how things go sometimes. If
Yeah.
the mom took it out on her and criticized her, you know, you obviously see her mom is a boy mom.
And that's the thing. I don't think that is possible, but I don't think we have any evidence of
We
that
know.
as of yet. What I think is more clear and present is that the mom has an issue with women. You know what I mean? She has a very kind of, it seems like, old school understanding of women and men and what men's role are. Because I think she probably, it again alludes to, not directly states, but she kind of put him in the place of the, like he kind of made her son her husband.
Absolutely.
Um,
Even the way she talks to him about how he needs to tighten it up. And it's, you know, he has to be the leader of the family. No, he doesn't want to, but
mhm,
he has to. It's his job. No, it was
mhm.
very much giving like, oh, you are my new husband energy,
Yeah.
which when
Also,
women do that, oh, it bothers me so
and
much.
also like, oh, even though I know there's racial elements too at play, but that's also why she wasn't going to like his wife regardless.
Oh, she wasn't.
She
She
wasn't going to
wasn't.
like his
Because
wife regardless.
he's
That
married to
was.
a white woman
Mhm,
in the story, and I
mhm.
think it because he's married to a white woman, it makes it easier for her to say, "Oh, I don't like her." But if he was married to a black woman, she was not going to like him either.
No, she
It
wasn't.
would just be she would just have less of a standing. Not that she
Right.
has a standing because his wife is white,
Mhm.
but you know, it gives her a little bit of cover to say, "Oh, well, we're just so different, and why didn't he choose someone that looked like me?" And you know, you can say all of those things that don't matter because who your child marries has absolutely nothing to do with you. And I think it's weird to be like, "Oh, marry somebody like me." That's creepy.
That is creepy. But
That's
yeah,
really
so I think she has a bunch of toxic stuff about like male and female relationships and dynamics
hmm
that she pushes on Melissa, on both her children, honestly. Okay, and the reason why I say this is because when her, and I'm assuming that that's her sister, the blonde lady at the Thanksgiving, I'm assuming
hmm
that's her sister because I think that's their aunt. Um, when they are talking to, and Melissa's trying to talk about her career, she's like, they're very clearly belittling her. And she's like, I went into a management program. She's like, oh, I thought you fell into a man. You know what I mean? Like her having or not having a boyfriend is the most important part in their life. And when women do that, that's usually because you have these really old school kind of, toxic beliefs about men and women. And then they're harping on her weight the way that they do.
hmm
You know, again, that's about what is traditionally attractive and you being able to appeal to and attract a man. I think it's more than that. So I don't think any female that came out of her she was going to like.
I'm going to say this:
Mm-hmm.
even if her and Alex were still together, because Alex is very well put together, he would present well to a family. If she bought Alex a Thanksgiving dinner, her mom would have still treated her like crap. Probably
Yeah,
would have been all up in Alex's face
yeah.
and
She would
doing
have
all
loved
things
Alex.
with him, but she still would have treated her like so. Even having a man would
Mm-hmm.
not have saved her because her mom does not like her.
No, but I'm saying she does not like women.
hmm
You know what I mean? So I
Yeah,
completely agree with everything you just said. But again, that's these weird, like, like you could be a woman and still be misogynist.
absolutely,
And so
absolutely.
to me, that's why I see it. Like, yeah, no, if she had a man, she would still hate her.
hmm
But I'm like, if she had Alex and she was still plus size, she still would be in on, you're gonna lose that man. You're gonna, you know what I mean? Whatever, it's a vehicle to just hate on this woman.
Yes,
If she actually lost weight, it would be like, you too skinny. You look sickly. She's gonna, she has an issue with women.
yeah, and that's really sad.
Hmm.
It's really sad. Like a lot of women, I've heard them say that their mom was their first bully.
Hmm. This is 1,000% true in this case.
Yeah, it is. And
So
so she
I
has
don't.
a toxic relationship with her
Mhm.
mom, and it feeds into a toxic relationship with her brother because she doesn't, she feels like, he puts her down the way that the mom does. The mom pits the two of them against each other, I feel like, and then kind of like steps back. And then when things get too chaotic, I feel like she steps in and tries to pretend that she's the referee, but it's like you started the fight.
You
You know,
absolutely started to fight.
you steadily like talk about how wonderful he is and how terrible she is, and then when they go at it, then you're like, oh, you don't be like that, don't do that.
Make
You
up.
know,
Yeah.
her brother. I'm trying to.
He triggered.
I'm,
You were talking about triggering. He triggered the hell out of me.
I want to be. I have some empathy for the brother in some respects. And those respects are, I'm going to say this.
Mhm.
His father dying was very traumatic on him. And it's very obvious he did not get the help that he needed. And he still is not over that
No,
situation.
he's not.
His
I was,
mom is
I still would.
inappropriate with him.
Oh
In
God.
the sense that she's made him her husband.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And it made him feel like he's responsible for everybody in the family. And I don't think that that's fair. And I don't think if he was a brother, if he was a girl or a boy, I don't think that would have been fair.
No.
Now what is funny to me though is the position that he is in his family is typically the position that you see the oldest daughter in.
It is.
And
In Black families, I would say.
yes, I'm sorry. In Black families, the position of being the caretaker and the keeper and the fixer and the saver in Black families is typically the oldest daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And does it create issues? It does create issues. But I feel like we have been trained as Black women to bear it in silence.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not allowed to use that as an excuse. And I think he uses that position that he's been put in his family as an excuse to be out of control and to be mean and to be aggressive and to be rude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So whereas I have empathy for him, it only can go so far because I'm just like, you are at this point, I feel like you're college educated. You keep talking about how you have financial success. Why are you not in therapy?
Well, I also, while that is true, the mother has put him in this position. She has definitely made him her husband, and he does help his mother and his sister at times. I still think he overplays his hand. At the end of the day, like the most of the stuff that you are complaining about is regular everyday stuff that is also the result of your choices. You are married. It doesn't seem like your wife works. That's the decision that y'all made together. So then the financial piece of it being on you, again, that's the decision that y'all made together. You are choosing not to share your struggles with your wife. You know, even though she's there every 5 seconds asking you what's wrong, trying to coddle you, you know, you still won't open up and share with her and spread that. And then you keep saying, because you guys are my dependents. He said that line. And I'm like, so you can't have a conversation with them?
Right.
You can't, that is something you made up, sir. I think
he's not willing to stand up to his mom.
He's not, but you don't have to stand up. Your wife could be your confidant. What the heck did you marry her for? And she's more than willing to be that confidant.
She is, and because she sees him breaking down, and she's trying to do stuff like giving him breathing exercises, and she honestly is she is trying to help. She's very understanding, and she is begging him to open up. But he has his mom in his head who told him to his face, you like when he got like aggressive, and she's like, it doesn't matter how much you have on you, close your mouth. Mm-hmm. Don't let it out.
That's a good point.
You know what I'm saying?
That is. But also, like, and I think overall his responsibilities are so basic. You know what I mean? Like, you are a married man with a stay-at-home wife. Big whoop. That's most, that's not most, but that's a lot of married men. Why are you acting like you are lifting mountains on your shoulders? You decided to have a wife that doesn't work. Right.
And also taking care, because I can tell that he does not take care of his mom completely financially.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't take care of either of them, but he acts like he does.
He does. And I'm like, that once again, having older parents it is very normal that you have to assist them with different things.
Mm-hmm.
That, once again, is very normal. And that's just a part of being in a family. As your parents age, they need more and more. But what he does not do is he does not put in boundaries.
No.
And then he complains about them. Because even with his sister, he complains and says, oh, you know what? You're on my family plan on my phone and you only call me when you need something. And then she offered to babysit for him and he's like, I would never trust you. And which is so interesting to me because when she came over for Thanksgiving, his daughter is like, you're my favorite person. I'm so thankful for you. Here's this gift. No one else got a gift from her. So it's very obvious that she has a good relationship with his wife. Even though the wife is like, I think your sister is stealing money from us.
Right.
She stole your Social Security card. She still has a good relationship.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not when he talks to her. That's not how he speaks to her.
No.
And so instead of just putting boundaries in place, and he could easily say, listen, I have my own family. I have a wife. I have kids. My wife does not work. I'm taking care of her financially. I can no longer lend you money.
Right.
It's just a boundary I need to set in place. He doesn't say that.
No.
He gives her whatever money she's asking for when she's asking. I don't even know how much it is.
I don't feel like it's a whole lot.
I don't either. I don't know. But it's very apparent that he's helped her out financially in the past. Instead of just putting a boundary in place by saying, hey, I can't be your first phone call because I have a lot going on in my life. I can't lend you money. Instead of saying those things, he will do things for her and then throw them in her face.
Yes.
And make her feel terrible about it. And I don't like that.
That's what I don't like. Instead of saying, you got 3 months to get off my family plan. You know what I mean? That's easy. She got a full-time job. Even though she doesn't make a lot of money, you can afford your cell phone bill.
I also don't understand. I'm like, or, hey, pay part of the bill for him. So he will let you stay on the family plan because obviously it's a discount the more phones are on there. Why are you not sending him money per month so he sees you as a benefit being on his family plan instead of a problem? And I know you don't even have to open your mouth. I know that would be the world's worst thing for you, to be on somebody else's bill. You know, I know how.
No, that's not where I was going to go. Even if she was doing that, he still would complain that she's on there because the idea of who she is and who she and to him, like his construction of her in his mind, I think nothing changes. She's a bum. She can't do anything. So I think even if she was sending him money, he would still complain, but she's still on my family plan. You still don't have it. You know what I mean? Because that's what he wants. He wants to be able to complain. He wants to do the woe is me thing. And he wants to do, I'm so successful. You're such a bum.
Right.
So no, the answer is to get off his family. No. And now we're talking about me. I will never ask you for anything.
I know. Absolutely.
I will never.
And so the who I am, I would have gone no contact with both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's hard because, she loves her niece and nephew and she even likes his wife.
Mm-hmm.
But I would be permanently no contact with the mom. And I would be no contact with him for long enough for him to understand you're not going to talk to me any kind of way.
Yeah.
I'm getting my life together. I will reach back out when I feel like we are on even keel and we can come together as adults. I don't need anything from you. You don't need anything from me. And we can see where we are at.
And I think unless he gets some help, though, he's still going to see her negatively.
Well, then, the no contact stands. You know what I'm saying? Like, it can only work if it's going to work.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't think that anybody, I don't care who they are, is guaranteed access to you.
No, but even the wife talked about, even with the wife knowing that she stole the Social Security number, still said, I don't like the way he talks to you.
Mm-hmm. Because it's abusive. Like, let's call it what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's abusive, and he feels like, you know what? I have so much pressure on me to relieve that pressure. I'm going to belittle you and be aggressive to you. And I'm like, it doesn't work like that.
You know what?
Go do some push-ups.
You know what?
Go play pickleball.
I'm thinking about something, and this is something I'm speculating here, hard speculation. But I wonder if that's how the dad treated the mom, and the mom doesn't have a problem with him, because like they keep saying the dad is bad, but I'm not really clear on whether or not, I don't think the dad left, but I'm just not sure. But I'm wondering if the dad belittled and all this kind of stuff and made the mom feel bad. And the mom doesn't have an issue with Brian because Brian doesn't treat her that way, but she's okay with her treating Melissa that way.
I don't know, because in the kitchen, she's like, oh, you lost your cool. You know, you're not allowed to do that. You need to keep it tight and button it up. And then she's like, go take this pie to your sister. You know what I mean? So
yeah, but any other time he's talking down to her, she has no problem. But as soon as Melissa claps back, she's sneering at her. She's looking at her crazy. I don't think the mom really has an issue with, like you said, she sets up the negativity. So I don't really think she has a problem with him talking to her cash crazy. She got upset because he lost his temper, started yelling.
Yes,
but
okay. Saying, I agree with that. I agree that it was what she wants him to keep a certain perception. So right. Yes, he can talk crazy to her. She doesn't want him yelling and screaming because that makes him look bad, not right. Because it makes Melissa feel bad.
And that's why I'm wondering if that's who the dad was to her and why he's a bad guy.
I don't know. I would love more information.
Yeah, we need more. I told you I'm speculating hard. This does not happen in a vacuum. You know what I mean? Like these kind of like, you know, this comes from somewhere.
Right.
And so the dad was a bad person. I can see the dad was a bad person because he treated me like he treated Melissa. But I don't care how you treat Melissa.
Right. Yeah, like the dad was a screamer and a yeller. So don't scream and yell at her. Mm-hmm. You can still dog her out, but don't raise your voice.
Right.
Which is wild. Yeah, I really hope that we get more. I would love a flashback. Context. I would love a daddy flashback.
Mm-hmm. Who would play the dad? Who should play the dad?
Who would play the dad? It depends on how they want to go. Mm-hmm. Do you know, is his name Tim Reed? If he would be the dad that from Sister.
Oh, okay. That would be interesting. Especially if you play a deadbeat. Because he's usually like, you know, kind of in more refined roles. Like, you know what I mean? Like he was the straight man in Sister.
Right. But once again, I think it's like perception versus reality. I think he would look like that. It would make them look like they were such a great family. But then behind closed doors.
Yeah, he's a mess. Screaming and talking down to her.
Right.
Ooh, I kind of like it. Yeah. Tim Reed. That's a good choice. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Who do you think would play the dad?
I feel like everybody that's popping up in my head is too old to play the dad. Because I'm like, Danny Glover, but he's way too, you know. But that's a flashback to The Color Purple.
I was like, didn't he just pass away? No, that was the dad from Good Times. Mm-hmm. Edward James Olmos? No, that's not his name. What's the dad from Good Times' name?
Girl, I don't know.
James Earl, James. You know what? Never mind. I'm not good with names.
Lawrence Fishburne.
Lawrence Fishburne was not the daddy from Good Times?
No, I'm saying as a suggestion.
You don't think he's too powerful for that role?
He was in Blackish.
He was in Blackish.
He was the dad in Blackish.
And when I said powerful, mm-hmm. I don't mean like he's too big of a star. I guess when I think about Lawrence Fishburne, immediately I go to like, what's love got to do with it? Ike Turner. And I'm like, we don't need all of that energy. Like that's a bit too much for me.
Yeah.
I need to be toned down. And so that's why I'm like, ooh, Lawrence Fishburne.
Forrest Whitaker. I don't know if he would do TV, but Forrest Whitaker.
I forgot Forrest Whitaker existed. And hold on. I don't. You know what? Never mind. I'm not gonna let that intrusive thought out.
No, hold it back. I know what it is, but hold it back. But okay. That's my vote. Forrest Whitaker is my vote.
Man. And once again, I almost feel like Forrest Whitaker is too much for the part because like Last King of Scotland, like that's a lot of energy.
But I think he can temper his energy. I think he's an excellent actor. So like, it doesn't matter. He's going to body whatever role it is. Yeah. And he kind of looks like he could fit into their family too, you know? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
so I guess that's what I meant by like Lawrence Fishburne. I'm like, they are. Forrest Whitaker and Lawrence Fishburne are like
tremendous actors.
Good actors. And so I'm like, ooh, if they have to play an abusive person, I'm scared.
I forgot about Ike Turner. I can't handle another Lawrence Fishburne going there.
I'm like, oh no,
that movie as an adult. And as again,
No.
I watched this so many times as a child.
Mhm.
Should not have watched that as a child. I cannot watch that movie as an adult.
I'm gonna be real. Like at the stage of life that I am in, I cannot really watch a woman being like physically abused or physically assaulted. Like I can't do it. I have to like move past it, fast forward. I honestly try to avoid it completely if I can. It's just too much. It's too much for me. I feel like I've seen enough
Yeah.
victimization, trauma, and abuse. And once again, the movies we were watching as kids, like The Color Purple, The Women of Brewster's Place. Why were we watching these movies as children? Are the movies great? They are.
They
Why
are
were we
not
watching
child
those
friendly.
movies?
I don't think our parents tempered what we watched.
I don't think they really thought psychologically all the way through.
Because if you think about it, 80s, 90s, there was no consideration for what we're doing psychologically to children.
No.
But like a lot of those movies, yeah, I'm like, okay, I enjoyed them. And I watched them over and over and over
Oh
again.
yeah.
And to the point where most of them, I know them line by line.
Right.
And now I cannot watch them as an adult. Like I can't even watch the remake of Color Purple. I can't. I have tried. And I'm like, even with you singing.
Right. And it's the fact that it's like a remake of the Broadway play and not of the original movie. I still can't do it. And that, I don't know why that hurts me a little bit, because that movie was such a huge part of my childhood.
Huge part of my childhood.
But I am anti-Black trauma at this point.
Yeah. And I don't completely get rid of it. Like I do have hard I have issues with essay scenes. I can't do essay scenes anymore. But like I don't completely get. I just make sure I'm in a good enough mood to watch some stuff like that. But it just doesn't seem to like I've caught it. And I think if I watch it, I'm gonna have to watch it with people. Like in my area, there's a group of people who get together and watch movies and stuff like that. Like we'll have a movie night. So I'm gonna see. Let me see if I can. Yeah, like can we just have like a little impromptu one? I need some other people to watch this with.
Yeah, it's just it was hard. That Thanksgiving scene was really hard to watch because you really understand, like start to understand like why she really doesn't love herself.
That Thanksgiving episode, yeah, that's another one that was emotionally hard to watch. To just watch her just be belittled, and no matter what she does, it's never going to be good enough. And to be like, I just want to be like, girl, just stop trying with these folks.
Like now going no contact is a really, really popular thing. Like it's very like normalized to like put in those hard, firm boundaries. But if you think about it, back in the day, there were always like people in the family that would just disappear, and they were like, they think that they're too good and they don't come around anymore. And I'm just like, oh no, they were the no contact pioneers.
They were. They started
you don't understand. Like, oh no, that person was brave. They weren't selfish. They weren't sedity. They were brave.
And often when you find out that story as to why they stopped, then you're like, oh, dang.
Right. Okay.
You know what I mean?
I don't blame you. But I don't understand. Like, I'm like, girl, why are you? I would have went no contact.
Girl,
but when she already doesn't have anybody.
That's true. She does have. It's complicated by the financial need. She does have a financial need.
She does.
So to completely go non-contact, especially with the brother, would be hard because, like, she still, she doesn't have herself together financially.
But do you think if she had herself together financially, she would go no contact? Because I don't think she would.
Only if it was coupled with therapy.
Because at this point, she is so broken on the inside that the crumbs, the hint of love and connection would be enough for her, because she just
wants to prove herself to them. She still wants to try to prove herself to them. So yes, I don't think she's at that point. But I hope she gets there. Okay, but I do. Let's talk about Rory, because we haven't talked about her relationship.
Oh, okay, yes, okay. So Rory, at the start of the show, is her best friend, and so let's give a background on Rory. Rory's father is he the president of the airport? What is he? The CEO of the airport? Yeah. He's over JFK. He works at the airport, like at a newsstand. Rory does, to fulfill the requirements of his trust fund. He's 35. He's the same age as Melissa. He is homosexual, and he kind of has like this attitude of, I like free and I want to just party. I don't want to do anything serious. He's not
Mhm.
serious about his career. He's not serious about, his love life, and he does not have a good relationship with his father.
Mhm. He's also adopted. He's
Oh
Asian.
yeah.
He's adopted by white, it's Jewish parents. Because he
Yes.
said he had a bar mitzvah.
So then the first episode, it starts out like it seems like, oh my god, they are best friends. They are two peas in a pod. And the show starts on her birthday, right? So the day of her birthday, they're supposed to go out, like eat and karaoke. Like it sounds like they have a whole weekend planned, like
Mhm.
watching The Office while taking edibles. Like they have a whole weekend planned. But what it turns out is that Rory ends up meeting a guy who they've been like seeing in the airport and kind of lusting over, and they all like, oh
Okay.
my god, he's so perfect. And Rory actually meets him and gets an opportunity to go out on a date with him, or kind of like a hookup with him. And so he lies to Melissa and says, "Hey, I can't hang out with you for your birthday. I have to go to a fundraiser." And that leads to the events that lead to her actually getting hurt, and ended up in the hospital, actually dying because she's by herself on her birthday putting together furniture. That wasn't even the plan of what she was supposed to do. Buying the furniture was never the plan. It was just her making her feel good about being alone on her birthday. So that's kind of Rory background.
Mhm.
And so Rory and the airport guy, like their hookup actually turns into a relationship.
Mhm.
And I feel like that is why he switches up on Melissa.
Well, how do you feel he switches up when you say switches up?
Okay, so Rory and Melissa, they end up getting into a really really bad fight. Like he is the person that she calls when she's in the hospital. He
Mhm.
does not answer her. And so when they get back to work on Monday, she's not answering his phone calls. She's upset with him because she knows in her heart of hearts when he gave that excuse that he was like lying about,
Mhm.
because he apparently does that quite often. So they end up getting into a fight, because she feels like he's not there for her, and he feels like she wants too much from him, basically.
Mhm.
But the reason why I say that he switches up is because they had a relationship dynamic that they both agreed upon. Wasn't necessarily healthy.
No.
No, it was not. But they both agreed to that relationship dynamic. And then you come to find out that honestly, he was not really fulfilling the dynamic the way that he was supposed to be.
Mhm.
But also, I feel like all of a sudden now, like, oh, he has the potential for a boyfriend. Now he just wants to be free and do whatever, and he doesn't want her to rely on him in the way that they've relied on each other.
Mhm.
Because, and I also feel like he's selfish and inappropriate, and I'll tell you why I feel like that after I give you the opportunity to talk.
Okay. So I think the reason why it's not even that I disagree necessarily with what you said. I think the reason why I see it differently is because this dynamic that they set up, that they both set up, was toxic and unhealthy from the beginning. So I see that this was always on a crash course from the beginning. I'm like, this is going to crash. This is unsustainable because it is too much to have all your emotional needs met by one person. And that's the dynamic that they set up with each other. And I think they both set it up when they were both in a really broken place. So it makes sense to me that once either person starts to come out of that broken place, that's going to fall apart because it was unrealistic in the beginning. I do think at some point that he fulfilled a lot of that. And I feel like it's too much. It's too heavy because while he did agree to it, you know what I mean? Melissa needs a lot. She needs a lot. And she calls on him, I think, too much. And I think she calls on him in times where it's inappropriate for her to call on him. He needs her emotionally. She needs him emotionally, financially, you know what I mean? Socially. Like he has whereas like She does not have anyone but him. He does have outside friends from her. He does have another social life, so he is not relying on her. I don't feel like he's relying on her as heavily as she's relying on him.
Is it a social life or is it hookups?
Whatever.
The reason why I say that is because she's like, oh, you're ditching me for sex again. Which you shouldn't. Here's the thing. I personally, I think Rory is the worst, but
I don't think he's the worst.
The reason why I think Rory is the worst is because he made an agreement that they were going to be each other's everything with the exception of sex. And when he felt differently, he didn't tell her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, and again, he's wrong for that. They have issues with communication. Do I think I don't think he's irredeemable. I think that they've needed to have a conversation because this is unhealthy. I think he's been feeling that for a while before Bi-Coastal Bay. This has started to, because why? Because I think that's why his behavior started changing. Because it started changing before Bi-Coastal Bay. Because this is not the first time he's ditched her for dick. And then, and before, where they were always together, I think they spent a lot of time together. There was a switch that was slowly progressing because I think the weight of being someone's everything was getting to be too much for him. And again, he never communicated that. But neither of these people, we're not talking about emotionally healthy people. We're talking about two emotionally unhealthy people.
I think my issue is he says stuff to her like, I don't want you to replace me with Lamar and somebody else. I don't remember the other person he named. Tamika. He's like, don't replace me with Tamika and Lamar. But then at the same time, you're saying, I can't breathe because you want me to be your man. You want me to be your everything. When they laid in the bed together and she was explaining to him all of the reasons why she was going to break up with Alex. And he didn't say to her, you know what? I think that you guys can work it out. You just need to love yourself more and understand why you're so amazing. He would want to be with you. He says, leave him alone. You shouldn't seek out a relationship. Just have sex with random people and let me be everything else to you. Let me be your emotional person. You'll be my emotional person. We'll be everything to each other but sex. And then all of a sudden you're screaming in my face, I'm not your man. Well, that's not what you said. Mm-hmm. They never should have made the agreement. I agree, because the agreement was crazy to begin with.
It was unrealistic. And once the weight of that was getting to be too much for him, yes, he should have said something. There's a lot of things that need to be said. Like when he keeps canceling, she needs to call him out for that. There's a lot of things that need to be said, but I think you're dealing with two very emotionally unhealthy people in a friendship. And there's a lot of things that they need to talk through that I don't think that either of them have the capacity or know how to talk through. But I think if they can get some good boundaries in place, I think that this can be a healthy friendship. I just don't think that it is right now.
There's also an imbalance of power in the relationship because he's a trust fund kid, and she is dead broke. But then he would tell her, hey, I don't feel comfortable with you doing this management program because it makes me feel bad. When you know she's already financially strapped and you say that you don't want her to be reliant on you, but then you would also tell her, oh, you know what? Don't pursue something that would financially help you. And
to me, that is the worst thing that he did. Of all the stuff that he did, telling her not to be a part of that management program because he has the issue with his dad is the worst thing that he did. And it's out of touch. But he's out of touch because he's rich and he's never had to really deal with the stuff that she's dealing with. He does not have an understanding for that. I'm not saying that to excuse him. I just, just to kind of explain. But to me, that is the worst thing he did, because her not doing that management plan is not going to improve your relationship with your daddy at all. That just is holding her back. To me, that's worse than all the other stuff.
He also, when he found out that she was in the hospital, he went around the airport and got her gifts, which means that not only did you ditch her on her birthday, you didn't get her a gift and then decided to throw something together quick. I'm just you should have showed up empty-handed. Mm-hmm. That's how I feel. Because he doesn't think that she deserves anything. Mm-hmm. But if that were you would be pissed.
Yeah, because a lotion wash, no thank you.
That he got for free. Once again, trust fund kid. Mm-hmm. You ditched me on my birthday, and then didn't like respond when I was in the hospital.
How's he supposed to know that she's in the hospital? You know, like if you're genuinely busy, sometimes you don't respond. I don't know why you're calling me.
Yeah, and if you can't answer the phone,
Hmm.
you are going to immediately text me, "Hey, I got this and this going on. What's up?"
That's true. I would do that.
You would.
Hmm.
He's a terrible, selfish person. I am happy that he found a relationship because I think he deserves to be loved. And it's
Yeah.
very obvious because he's made comments about his self esteem and how he would never be able to get a man that's attractive, or no one wants to be in a relationship with him, which is why I think he developed that, just hook up culture minded. I'm glad that he found a relationship. It seems like that guy is really good for him.
Yeah.
But it was like, oh, as soon as he got in a relationship, I feel like he immediately started to look down on Melissa. Like,
Mhm.
and everybody, he knows he knows how people treat her,
Mhm.
especially like her family members and stuff. And I feel like he started doing the same thing as soon as he got in that relationship. And that's why I'm like, oh, he switched up. Like the way he was yelling at
I
her.
think it was building, and I think if he had had the conversations about, like, hey, I know we said this, but this is getting to be too much. What I see is that I think it was slowly building, and then it exploded, and it exploded because, again, you don't know how to communicate, and you don't know how to change rules that we all set up dynamics, and then that change. Like, be like, we've been
Right.
friends for what, almost 30 years.
Yeah.
The dynamics have changed, and they do change as we continue to grow and change. But I don't think most people know how to have those conversations and how to
Right.
deal with those and that's it. And so that it builds up to the point where he explodes. And I just feel like I'm not saying that that's right or okay. I'm saying I see that a lot with people. Like, what I mean? If you don't know how to communicate your feelings, now I'm mad about everything, and I'm letting you have it for stuff 10 years ago that I should have said to you 10 years ago.
The thing about it is like you feel like she's the worst person in the world because she did the management class after you asked her not to. But then when she asked you to co-sign, not pay, to co-sign on a loan, you're like, why would you do that? Why would you ask her? Well, because you are a trust fund kid. And for whatever reason, this loan means too much to me. But
That's where I feel like she was wrong.
It was a bit much to. I wouldn't do it either. But
Right.
but once again, if me asking
to do that.
if me asking to co-sign on that loan was too much, a bridge too far, you asking me not to take that management class was a bridge too far. And then he was devastatedly upset with her when he found out she did it anyway, after refusing to do the loan.
I think that her asking for anybody to co-sign on $30,000 is crazy. I think that is crazy work. I don't care that he's rich. That's a lot to ask of your friend.
It wouldn't be. It's not. I wouldn't do it either. But I feel like if he is asking her to put her life on hold,
I told you, to me, that's the worst thing that he did. And the way he responded about that, and again, it's equal. It's not, well, maybe not equally, but it's still is unrealistic as well. It's unrealistic to say, hey, not to advance your career because my father recommended you, and I'm kind of jealous of my father.
I see it as the same. I see like if he feels like she went a bridge too far asking him to co-sign on the loan, then you were too far asking her not to take the class. But he still felt like she was so wrong. Even after, and I'm like, well, how is it that there's limits on what you're willing to do for her, but it doesn't seem to be limits on what you expect her to do for you? That's why I don't think that their friendship is necessary. I don't, because honestly, when
nobody has it's necessary. I think it's redeemable.
I'm going to say this: her life started getting exponentially better once she stopped being friends with Rory, because she truly had to start from the ground up, rebuilding friendships, and finding new friends, because she didn't have him as a security blanket anymore. So there were people she already were friends with, but she did not really see how much they wanted her. Right. She couldn't see it before because she only was like, it was like Rory, 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 Rory. And then she started meeting new people. And all of a sudden, she went from having no one to having a beautiful community.
Right. But I guess I see, and I think that's beautiful. You know, that's one of my favorite parts of the story is watching her build community because I love that for people in general. And I love that these people, that she didn't realize how many people she had around her that cared about her. And I love that part. I'm not saying that it has to happen, but I'm saying if you all can have some honest conversations with each other and put in some serious boundaries, I think that friendship is redeemable. Does she have to have that friendship? No, she could be fine without him as well. I just don't think that it's like, I think I see that both participate in this toxic cycle with each other, and both of them need to make changes in general and to make their friendship work.
Like when you think about how everyone poured into her when she started taking like the management class, like when she said that she was gonna fly, like everybody like really rallied around her, and he was the only one other than Patty who is her biggest hater. Let's take Patty out of the equation because Patty
because
was
they're
never
not friends, and she's not part of her.
She's not.
Yeah, she's not her people. She's not her tribe.
She's not. Everybody else,
Mm-hmm.
like really, really poured into her. And this is the thing. It wasn't like she was all of a sudden using people, because she was opening up more. She was connecting with people. She was building herself. It wasn't like, everybody's helping her. She was part of a community.
Right. But that's
needed
also a change that she needed to make, because she has some usury tendencies as well. So like building that building this new community where she is a reciprocal part, you know what I mean, where she gives to people, she pours into people, and they pour into her. That is a character growth that needed to happen for her.
1,000%. But I think it would not have happened the way that it happened if she still had the friendship with Rory. Because with Rory wants all of her attention when he wants it. And when he doesn't want it, he wants her to be left alone. And I just think it's toxic. Their friendship was toxic.
I don't disagree that it's toxic. I just think they can work through it. Don't have to. She could choose not to. But
he's happy in his relationship, because throughout the movie, like that's the only thing you see is him building his relationship. You don't really see him like building other relationships with other people. It's just that, and so I'm like, you know what? Okay, he's one of those guys. Now he has a boyfriend. He don't need nobody else. Okay, cool. Well, you and your boyfriend, y'all seem really happy. Maybe he's healing some of your daddy issues. Y'all go over there. So, okay, do you want to talk? We've talked about toxic friendships, and we talked about her good friendships. Were you surprised that she really started to blossom when she got like some good girlfriends around her?
Of course not. Of course not. Because like women, like my female friendships have always been like some of the most important relationships and the most healing, community oriented, like just all around good. So no, I'm not at all surprised. I was so excited when she made that connection with Tamika and the bartender. Like I love the three of them. I love their dynamic. I love their relationship that I see growing and blossoming. It's crazy to me that like us, like these people were so close to you all along, but now you discover, no, these are really good people. Because like before that, Tamika is just the girl you hear on the other side of the wall, you know what I mean, that you create a narrative about. But then when you get to know her, like you all actually are really good, compatible friends. And then even like the people at the airport, like her getting closer to Kaya, the lady who sells the lotion washes, who I feel like is like, again, a silent supporter. Even though you guys weren't that close, she's rooting for you. Because she calls Rory out a few times about his crap. I don't remember that. Who else is it in the airport? I feel like there's somebody else. Oh, we're talking about the female relationships. Okay, we'll say that.
Yeah, my only question, so my new question is, why did she not have female friends before that were close?
I don't know.
That is so interesting, because she objectively is a very likable person. Yes. She's well, like they don't like her and her family, but her sister-in-law actually likes her. Like she's a girl's girl. You know what I'm saying? Like she's very personable. It seems like she really makes friends easy. I'm like, girl, where were your girlfriends at before this?
Yeah, I don't know. And I mean, I guess some people just don't have them, which is crazy. But
Right.
it's a crazy thing for me to think about, like having some relationships that have lasted so long in my life.
Right.
But I am very glad that she did find them, and I love it. I love the relationships for her.
There is like that female support.
It's just different.
It does. It hits different. And I
Mm-hmm.
really feel like that was like the game changer because like they immediately started not only pouring into her but holding her accountable. Like when she said, "Oh, I don't have anything to wear," and they're like, "Oh, we'll come over, we'll figure out, we'll put something together." And she's like, "Oh, maybe tomorrow." And they were like, "Well, are you saying no because you want to go and do something else, or you just saying no because that's what you do?" And she's like,
Mm-hmm.
"Okay, let's go do the fashion show." They immediately started like holding her accountable to the things that she said she wanted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Agreed.
It was beautiful.
Agreed. Even Kaya at the airport encouraging her to fly and being part of that flight simulation, and then talking to her, making sure she got the luggage so that she could go. You know, because I think
Yes.
the funny thing is Kaya. I think some of the things that she sells, because that's Kaya's business. Like she owns that kiosk. She could have sold her.
Oh, I didn't understand that.
Yeah, she owns that. Um, she could have sold that luggage to her because she sells luggage, but no, instead she's like, I know you can't afford it. This is the way you go get it for free.
Do you know the entire time I thought she was like working at a kiosk but trying to sell her own stuff on the side?
No, I think that's hers.
That is amazing.
That's
I
how
love
I
her.
read it. Like,
Wow.
there's a little scene where well, like she leaves. Oh, she said, "Oh no, okay." So she's trying to sell the lotion washes to the lady, and she was like,
Mhm.
"You're supporting a black woman's me-owned business."
Yeah, I did hear her say that, and I
Right.
thought she was specifically talking about the lotion washes.
So
But
then,
now I
and then
hear
later on, like when the guy's like, "Well, can you get off?" He essentially asked her, "Can you get off work to go?" And she was like, "Who gonna stop me?" Because like you know what I mean? It's her
Mhm.
business.
I was one. Yeah, I heard her say, "Who gonna stop me?" And I thought she was just being sassy. So, but
I mean, yeah,
I
still,
love her.
but
I love her even more knowing now that that's actually her own
it's her
business.
business. And again, like I said, like she could have sold her luggage, but she was like, "No, I know enough to know you can't. This is how you get it for free." Because
Yeah.
like it's about supporting you, not just
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yes, there were like beautiful examples of female friendships and female support and why like those relationships are so important. But one of the things that we got to see in this show, which I don't feel like often gets portrayed, are friendships between like women and men that are healthy and fun and not crossing any line. Now, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not including Terrence in this conversation. I think
Mm-hmm.
that Terrence it belongs in a different conversation. But the two guys who work on the tarmac with
Love
Terrence,
them.
they
Love
are
them.
so funny.
They
I
are
love
hilarious.
their friendship together. They
Huh?
have
Oh,
a
I love their friendship. I do too.
they
And
have a
we
great
always talk about that, like seeing healthy male friendships on screen is something that does not happen often.
right. I
So
love
yeah,
anytime I see that, I love it. But like they are great friends to her. Like you see them interacting with Kaya. Like you just
Mhm.
see like they are just great guys and great friends. Like they tease her, but they also
Mhm.
encourage her and they show that they care about her. Like I love that. I love that because once again, that's not always something that we see,
Yeah.
and she's getting all of, like, she went from this very, very toxic friendship with Rory to all of a sudden opening herself up. And she has so many people who, like you said, were right there in her face who actually care about her. But the only difference, nothing changed except she allowed herself to receive it because they
Mm-hmm.
were always doing this. They were always speaking to
True.
her, interacting with her, loving on her, encouraging her, but she never received it before.
Mm-hmm.
They
Agreed.
didn't do
And she
anything
let them
different.
into her life a lot more too. I think during this process.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
I like it. Just the show is a great example about the power of friendship and the power of community, and you have to like ask yourself, like, if I'm stuck and I'm not able to grow, I'm not able to move forward, I'm not able to reach my goals. maybe I need to look around and see who's around me. And maybe I need to
Right.
expand my community. Maybe I need
Well, and,
to decrease my community and then push some people out.
or take a break, take a healthy break. But one of the things is I like that point because like so much of her issue is that she can't see a way out, and so these people being able to give her glimpses and because of how they see her versus how she sees herself, she gets to start to see her way out because they can see her being in the management program, they can see her on trips, planes, and flights. Girl, when I tell you that flight simulator that they set up for her in order to help her, girl, almost tears. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm not gonna go out there like a punk, but I almost did
It
because
was
I almost
so
cried.
beautiful because like the effort, the
Mhm.
thought, and
The
just the
level.
way they loved the way that they all loved on her is you can very easily tell she's never experienced anything like that.
No,
She's
no.
never
That
experienced
feels like
anything.
it feels like family,
Mhm.
in a way that she's like you said, never experienced. Like that is what family is. That's what people who care about you. That's what that feels like.
Yeah.
And to be able to open her up to the point where she could, even though I don't think romantic love is not the point of the goal, and it doesn't have to be, but the where she could even open herself up enough to think, oh, maybe I could have romantic love is because now she's like, oh, this is what love is supposed to feel like.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. People can love you right where you are.
Mm-hmm.
Right where you are. And so yeah, that was beautiful. That was a very touching
I
part.
love the way that was done. But I love that about shows in general, like when they really show people build a community and come together and how that looks. I love those depictions of it. I love seeing those relationships form and how they kind of get their thing with each other. Yeah. Because like this, okay, so the two guys in the airport, Sean and Deshaun, they're like brothers.
They
They're
are.
like brotherly figures in the best way though, because like they
Right.
tease you, but they love you. They're gonna push you, but they're not gonna let you quit on yourself,
Right. And so that juxtaposed to her actual brother
Girl,
is jarring.
it
You know,
is.
her actual blood brother who here's the thing. It's not that he does not love his sister. He does love her, but it is wrapped up in so much toxicity from all of like the family baggage.
True.
But they have like little moments
They do have little moments.
where they connect, and you're like, this is how their relationship is supposed to be, but it never stays that way long. And
No.
then it's not, and here's the thing, I'm gonna say this, it's not all the brother.
No.
Because she has a lot of problems. And in some ways he's correct. At 35, she should have herself together. So it's not a one-sided thing where she's just a victim and her brother is a terrorizer.
Right.
He has her issues and he has his issues, and it leads to a terrible relationship. But but I agree that the guys on the tarmac show her how beautiful a brother-sister relationship could be.
Mm-hmm.
They
Absolutely.
do. So yeah, that was very beautiful. It was very beautiful. So I really enjoyed that. Like, we started off, like talking about the toxic relationship stuff is kind of hard.
Yeah.
But I feel like we ended on a beautiful note.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes you have to take the bitter to appreciate the sweet.
I like that. It sounds beautiful.
So, guys, thank you so much for joining us with this episode. I'm really, really looking forward to our next episode. Please join us. It'll be our final episode on how to die alone. So we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
I'm ready for the next episode. Can't wait to get home and turn my TV on. I'm ready for the next episode. Got my snatch shoes off, my remote control. I'm ready for the next episode.